You hit the €1 billion mark again. Of course, you also had 2023's operating result come in at €112 million, your best ever. Break that down for us. What is fueling some of those numbers?
Yeah, it's kind of course, reassuring. It shows that actually our products are liked by the passionate Ducatisti. We are generating the resource which actually is needed to continue our development plan. We have a lot to do for keeping the momentum. So there is a lot of investment that we are doing for the product development for the future. There are a lot of technology to be actually developed in order to remain competitive. And so it's a kind of reassuring that actually we are generating that resource and we are in such a way financially strong in order to make that plan viable.
I do want to talk about input costs here because I spoke to the CEO of Daimler Trucks yesterday, actually, and it sounds like it's a bit of a wash for them. You have some costs going down, others have risen. When it comes to actually building your motorcycles, what does it look like when it comes to the cost of raw materials versus the last couple of years?
Yeah, actually, that is a bit better in a way. Energy price was very, very high in the past, and also raw material increased. Actually, that is a bit of a relief now. It's not yet in Europe energy price going back to what it was before the COVID period, but actually it's for sure better. And so that is helping in order to keep the proper balance between prices and margin. And actually, we are in a strategy we call raise the bar. So actually, we are targeting much more profitability than volume, and so it's very important we can keep that balance between prices and cost.
Okay, so a bit of relief when it comes to input costs. Let's talk about financing costs, though, because, of course, they're quite high. They're starting to come down, but still from this high level. How does that affect your high-end moto brands?
Yeah, it's of course financing. It's important for retail, and so in many countries, even high-end motorcycle are bought on financing, so that make it more difficult in a way. But actually, we have the advantage of having a very high resale value for our product. So once you make the difference between what you pay with a brand new vehicle and what you can get after 3 years, actually that is for sure an advantage. So we are not suffering too much on that point. And actually, when it comes to the company, we have the luxury of being cash positive, and so that is not impacting our P&L, because actually, if anything, we get an advantage over the cost of capital which is being raised.
All right, appreciate the context there. And I am also really interested in your relationship with your parent company. Of course, you've been owned by Volkswagen since 2012. How has working as a Volkswagen company changed over that time period, those 14 years or so?
Yeah, it's kind of course, it's sometimes complicated because actually dimensions are very, very different. We are a kind of 2,000 people company, which is completely different than a 680,000, the whole group. And so sometimes processes are a bit more complicated, but on the other side, there is a very strong solidity. And actually, the other very positive things is that we are managing directly with Audi, which actually is the company that manages directly Ducati. And actually, now you have people that understand pretty much what it is, how to manage a brand like Ducati, how much product are important for us, how much it's important that actually we are keeping being innovative, we keeping being Italian, and so this flavor. This means that actually we have been helped in develop the company properly. The company is the best shape ever. We are coming to be 100 years of history in 2026, so we have a kind of a long heritage, but we have a fantastic present, and we like to see that we are building our future. So also a lot of that has to be thanks to the current shareholder that actually has helped a lot the brand to develop and to work on many aspects. Like, for example, product quality now is at its best. We have made a lot of investment actually in order to make sure that really that is completely out of discussion.
Well, it's a really interesting dynamic. Like you said, a complicated relationship, but Ducati can keep being Italian. I am curious, how much is Ducati able to collaborate with some of the other brands that are also under Volkswagen?
Yeah, that's a very positive part. Actually, we are in what we call the progressive brand group, which is under the umbrella of Audi. So it's Audi, Ducati, Lamborghini, and Bentley. And that has helped a lot. We have very close relationship with Lamborghini. They are kind of, we are 30 kilometers one from the other in the same region, which actually is the Motor Valley here in Emilia-Romagna. And then we are very close friendship with Bentley. And that made possible that in the last couple of years, we make a special version. We make one of our Street Fighter, which is our stripped down Panigale in Lamborghini trim. And that was a fantastic success. 630 units plus 63 special only for Lamborghini customer. And then we replicate 1 year later with Bentley, making a Ducati Diavel for Bentley. And these are very special version, very high price, but collectors love that because typically the resale value of the product is higher. And so it's not only a fantastic gift for passionate bikers, but also a good investment.
And Claudio, I only have about a minute left with you, but we have to talk about MotoGP because Ducati won its 4th straight world title in 2023. What has that meant for sales? Are you able to get close to quantifying the impact there?
Yeah, that's a kind of the killer question. I've been asked many, many times. And if I have to be completely honest, it's very difficult to relate sales with actually the result we do in racing. But for sure, there is a lot on prestige. Everything we do, everything we measure, and actually we keep monitoring the brand strength around the world has been skyrocketing in the last 5 years, and for sure, the result we've had in MotoGP, and actually when we consider that we are the only brand in the history of motorcycling that actually won MotoGP and Superbike on the same year, doing 2 years in a row. That was never happening before in history. And so when you do something so big, all the passionate bikers really understand and take that the technology that comes from the brand is so high. And so the reputation is very, very high now.